Okay, welcome everybody. I'm Eric, also known as Gleemo, and I'm the Keeper of the Chronicles for this Call of Cthulhu Massive Nyarlathotep campaign on Roll20 and streaming to Twitch and YouTube. Quiet couple weeks here for me. Just getting ready for the holidays. I'm rocking the Merry Christmas ugly Cthulhu sweater shirt thing. I've been helping out some fellow streamers with the Direct Relief charity event here on Twitch. Tonight's stream is counting towards direct relief as well. Any bits donated with the charity emote or with #charity, Twitch will donate 20% to Direct Relief. Direct Relief is a non-profit, non-partisan organization with the stated mission to improve the health and lives of people affected by poverty or emergency situations by mobilizing and providing essential medical resources needed for their care. So I guess if a great old one steps on your town, Direct Relief will try to help you out. So please give generously. What's everybody else been up to? Let's go around, go clockwise. Seamus, what's going on?
Not much. Just really looking forward to the holidays, as I realize some of my employers just cannot count.
That's always challenging. All right, George, how's everything with you?
Things are going all right. Just kind of same old. Though I guess when you work for yourself, when things are fast or slow, it really just depends on your clients. So,
Yep,
a relatively busy time of the year for me. So that's good.
Carl, how's everything in your world?
I have 3 days of work left, and it's going to be hell. Yeah, this busy time of year. Got to get in all my employee reviews. Got to make sure everything's okay before I leave for 2 weeks, I guess, almost.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's feeling the crush.
I understand. You going up home to Canada, or?
I am starting on the 23rd, which
Nice.
is next Sunday at this time. I should be at my parents' house. All things go well.
Fingers crossed for you.
I've done it before.
Excellent. Bill, how's everything in your world?
It's a little bit slow this time of year for me as well. It seems like everybody has taken off pretty much the month from Hanukkah right on through the new year. So it's quiet at the office. I got to get in a little bit of Canadian humor with the Trailer Park Boys live this last Sunday.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, with weed being legal in Massachusetts now, the entire area around the Orpheum was smelling like a Cheech and Chong movie.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it was a good time. Nice,
good show,
relaxing. Yeah, nice relaxing time with the wife. Had some dinner and the show, and we enjoyed it.
Cool.
I think the Patriots must be doing some of that because they're just horrible.
Yeah, it's I think Tom versus time, the balance might have shifted at some points.
I don't know. People dropping balls. It's just can't stop anyone. It's just I don't know what's going on.
Well, we have a slow and unathletic defense. That's huge problem.
They were playing a largely lackluster offense today, even.
Yeah, that too.
It's not looking good.
I'm holding out hope for my Saints tomorrow night.
Yeah, me too. I've got Drew in my fantasy league, so I kind of need a big one out of him.
Nice.
What are they even doing? Oh, they're 11-2. Holy smokes!
Yeah, they've had a pretty good year this year. So good to be a New Orleans boy for once. All right. So who wants to summarize last session?
All right. Gotta fire up the notes.
We didn't go to jail. That was good.
We went back
First-
to the Juju house and kind of faffed around that for a while and got nowhere. Let's see here. We went to Carlton Ramsey and had a will read, where we got basically funding for anything we wanted to do. Let me see here.
There is a check and balance to that, though.
We haven't hit that limit yet. Let's see. I have it that we went to Jonah Kensington to get the remaining paperwork from Jackson, but I'll be honest, I don't quite remember what transpired there. Let's see here.
Anyone remember that part?
We did not talk to Millie Adams yet, or did we? I don't have that we did. I have a list
You
of
have
to
not.
dos, and there's a bunch of stuff that we didn't do, and we did not talk to Erica Carlisle yet.
No, but we did because of the papers that we got, which was reluctant. We managed to use them to be able to convince the lawyer, her lawyer, to set up a meeting.
And is that where we left off? I feel like
Yes.
okay.
I was amazed that we didn't get into a fight or end up in jail.
I feel like we spent an inordinate amount of time at the Juju house, but
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and the notes we got from Kensington, I believe that was America's 13. It's the kind of crazy ramblings.
Correct.
I missed that. America's 13. All right, what does anyone else have? That's all I've got.
That was kind of it. We spent kind of an inordinate amount of time at the Juju house.
You guys almost got arrested again.
Yeah. People diving out the windows and
Tried this, yeah, we tried to search Silas's
Oh, that's right.
back office or whatever, and
We succeeded at a bunch of like social roles, and
we
then
got hard successes.
whatchamacallit? Then Carl's character had the great idea of like, saying that it was all like, a hazardous waste zone because he went to the bathroom. So the guy just threw us out. But nobody, I don't think we were close to going to jail.
Yeah, no, we kind of botched a few things. I think he did start yelling for the cops at one point. Remember?
No, we talked him down after that.
Yeah, we did.
We succeeded at a bunch of
That was blind luck.
social roles.
Talked him down, but then no one thought to, get Alejandro and Jesse out of the back room that they were frantically
Yeah.
searching before the dude came back in. So, he was a little pissed.
But he couldn't prove that we did anything wrong, so he just threw us out.
What could possibly go wrong from that?
I cannot read this handwriting.
Do you need a refresher of that handout?
Oh, I'm looking at it. It's just tough to read.
Many names, many forms,
Ramblings.
but all the same and toward one end. Need help. Too big, too ghastly. These dreams. Dreams like Carlyle's? Check that psychoanalyst's files. All of them survived. They'll open the gate. Why? So the power and danger is real. They, many threads beginning. The books are in Carlisle's safe. Coming for me. Will the ocean protect? Ho ho, no quitters now. Must tell and make readers believe. Should I scream for them? Let's scream together.
Madness. Okay, so wait, it's all coming back to me. We ended up, so we are at the Carlisle estate, or we had
No,
convinced like
you had
her.
talked to the lawyer, and
Yeah.
you finished your appointment with the lawyer, and we're heading up to Harlem to meet with Millie Adams. At least that was the next thing on your list.
That's right.
Yeah, it was Millie Adams, and then we were going to meet with Carlisle.
So I guess I'll ask: do you want to keep that appointment?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me.
They're out in Westchester, right? So we have to travel there, or
No,
how does-
you were in New York. You're going to have to travel out to Westchester to meet with Erica Carlisle, and she's agreed to see you on Thursday afternoon.
Is it still Monday?
It
No,
is
This is
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
it's
It is
Tuesday.
Tuesday, January 20th.
Your brother or husband? I forget.
Sorry?
Is it her brother or husband?
Millie's the wife, and Carlisle's the sister of the missing explorer.
Right. No, the one we're missing. I thought he's the guy that's in the jail, right?
The guy that's
Millie Adams is his wife, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, you head up into Harlem, and did I dragged you guys here. Yes, I did. Okay, great. So you are up in Harlem. Let me get the board up here. Oh, I should have done this a second ago. Sorry, chat. Let me flip here. Okay. So you are up in Harlem, and you are heading to the Lafayette Theater, also known as the House of Good Plays. It's a fair amount uptown. It's at 7th Ave and 132nd Street. So you meet Millie Adams and Rebecca Schosenberg underneath the marquee at the beautiful theater. Once you all arrive, Millie ushers all of you into the smart lobby and past the ticket booths and cloakrooms and through into the stalls. Various cleaners and other members of staff smile and greet Mrs. Adams as she passes, and everyone also seems to know Miss Schosenberg. The house lights are fully up in the main auditorium as Millie shows you to seats in the center of the stalls. Millie kind of is somewhat guarded speaking to you, and mentions that there's been a lot of people that have expressed interest in her husband's case, and not all of them have had good intentions. So she wanted to meet at a neutral location, and this is where she's worked as a pianist for 20 years. So it seemed like a good place to meet with you. And she says that Rebecca seems to think that you're good people. So what can she do for you?
Well, I think we'll put the cards on the table and be blunt as possible. We have evidence, really, that we think it's a high probability that your husband did not commit the murders that he's been charged with and convicted. Is he charged and convicted?
Yes.
Man, that's docket.
Charged, convicted, and awaiting execution.
Rocket docket. Because the murders didn't end. What's her reaction?
And so good.
She looks somewhat relieved to hear that. She says, I've been trying to convince the world of this for months now. I'm sorry to hear that. Just Rebecca told me about your friend, and I'm so sorry to hear that. She says, well, here's the information that I can give you. She said, my husband didn't confide everything he knew about the deaths and disappearances in Harlem over the last few years, but he did tell me one or two of his suspicions. She says, I've tried to confirm some of these for myself as well. She says, Hilton was somewhat of a curious type, and he started hearing about these murders taking place and took it upon himself to do some digging around, and I guess he must have gotten too close, because that's when he got set up at that last crime scene. She says, I'll make you a deal. She says, if you will use your connections and skills to try to exonerate my husband, then I'll provide you all the information that I can that may lead to the true killers.
Well, are we talking to the housewife?
Yes.
Why would she have information about the true killer?
She says that she has some information that Hilton had given her, as well as some investigation that she's done on her own since he's been in jail.
How many murders are we talking about here?
Dozens.
Dozens. It's ghastly.
Well,
Dating back to.
does her husband have a lawyer? Like, how did he get charged and convicted with a death penalty case so quickly?
We're not wealthy people, and well, you know how it is for a black couple in Harlem. Everything's kind of stacked against us. We had enough money for a lawyer and to go through the main trial and one appeal, but the money ran out after that, and he wasn't interested in helping us any further.
I forget. So these are all cult murders?
So Rebecca kind of pipes in and says, as I showed you in newspaper articles, that all of the murders seem to have followed a very similar pattern to what happened to your friend Jackson. Most of the bodies were found with that strange sigil carved into their forehead.
That's a pretty obvious pattern.
Yeah, and the prosecutor didn't think about that at all.
It's 1920.
Well, they thought it was.
They want it solved and done.
Yeah, it's kind of curious actually. Why did they assume it was Hilton again?
They found him. They found him standing over one of the bodies.
But aren't there? You said there was dozens of murders. He doesn't have an alibi for a single one of those days.
Yeah, and I think you're looking at this with a with a 21st century sense of how the jurisprudence system works, and
Yeah.
not how it worked in
Well,
Harlem
I'm trying to
in
read the rules.
1924.
Oh, yeah.
He was having an affair every one of those days when there were killings. He couldn't
spin-
speak up about it.
Yeah, in all seriousness, man, yeah, some of the books that I've read, New York criminal prosecutions around that time are just dreadful if you don't have connections.
I don't know. I'm reading the constitutional criminal procedure on death penalty cases. And it's like, maybe we
Yeah,
should
I
hire
mean, just
a
like,
lawyer.
look
We're
at
gonna spend the rest of
if
this
you want to
campaign
metagame this, like look at Sacco and Vanzetti. I mean, look at any of the anarchist hearings that happened during that time. I mean, that was all mid to late 20s, early 30s. Same thing. Like anybody who wasn't a wasp, and frankly even some people that were, that was it. You had a half day trial, and then they stuck an electrode in the back of your head.
That dude.
It's like 40 years till the Miranda decision. Keep that in mind.
Well, I'm trying to read. Like, there's this 1932 case, right? Like, I don't know. So, when is his execution supposed to happen?
It hasn't been scheduled yet.
Let's see. Powell versus Alabama, 1932. SCOTUS reversed conviction of 9 young black men for allegedly raping 2 women in Scottsboro, Alabama.
It's 8 years after this is set. Like, things are pretty horrible right now. If you're if the police arrest you, it's pretty much a sure thing that you're going to jail, and if it's a capital crime, you're getting executed.
Remember, people applied to be the coroner in this time so they could get kickbacks from funeral homes. No, really.
I mean, it's not really a nice time in U.S. history, and there was lots of corruption, lots of people, wrongly got convicted, and police were there wasn't a whole lot of evidence gathering that happened. Certainly not in terms of physical evidence.
Well, okay. Anyways, so
It's a good thing that doesn't happen to black people anymore, though.
If Officer O'Leary saw him standing over the body, that's good enough for me.
anyways, so when is this guy going to get executed?
He's on death row, but his execution date has not yet been set.
Yeah. Okay. So presumably, if we solve the case, then he'll be off death row.
Assuming we're still alive.
No, and if we get close, assuming he makes it past whoever's not trying to cover this thing up.
I asked Millie if, does she have any suspects, leads about what we should be investigating?
So she again says, I've got a whole bunch of information. I'm not in a position to use it. If you'll help me try and prove my husband's innocence, then I'll happily give it to you.
Like, sure. I mean, like, does she have like a folder of stuff, like, or do we already?
She doesn't have anything
Like, what kind of information
written down, but this is what
okay.
she can tell you. She says that Hilton grew concerned when Harlem locals began to disappear several years ago. And as the number of disappearances increased, Hilton turned to a group of friends from the saloon they all hung out at which is called Teddy's. It's 2 blocks over from the Lafayette Theater. Oh, thank you, Spaz, for the 55 bits, and thanks for using the charity hashtag. Yeah, so Teddy's Saloon, 2 blocks over from the Lafayette Theater. All of these friends of Hilton had served in the Harlem Hellfighters during the war. They began organizing patrols to try and protect members of the community, alongside trying to find out who was responsible. After the police of the 14th Precinct refused to take the matter seriously. Even after mutilated bodies started appearing a couple years back. Hey, Matt. Hold on one second. Let me adjust the cameras here, and we'll get you in.
Yeah, guys. Sorry I'm late. As you guys know, there was an emergency.
Yeah, no problem, man. Family's first, you know?
Yeah. It's a good thing it wasn't anything that serious, so. All right, so what'd I miss?
We did intros, and everyone is now up in Harlem talking to Millie Adams. And Millie has just said that she has some information about who she thinks the real murderers are, and is willing to trade that information as long as you guys will promise to try to help exonerate her husband.
Will do.
Of what crime?
All the crimes.
Her husband is the
Dozens
one that
of
got
murders.
charged with all of the
Heinous
cult
murders.
murders.
Oh, okay.
All of them, even though there are apparently dozens.
Yeah, it was one guy.
Well,
He's J. Edgar
we're no.
Ripper.
I mean, he's got this vigilante mob, so like it's just like him. And his
Chances are the
street gang.
cops and the district attorney or prosecutors wanted him out of the way anyway, so he was really a convenient patsy.
Yeah. He's the fall guy. You see, this is a new adventure, you see. Meh, see. Fucking. Anyways, I'm back, and I'm willing to probably kick some ass if need be. I see we're going to a playhouse. Or
Yes.
are we?
Yes, so
Already
you're
there.
at the Playhouse talking to Millie. And Rebecca Schosenberg from the New York Times is also there, facilitating this introduction.
Nice.
Oh, is Millie an actress or something?
She's a piano player at the theater.
Oh, okay.
So just to catch you up on the
Please.
on the what she said before you came in, she says that her husband Hilton grew concerned when Harlem locals began to disappear several years ago, and as the number of disappearances increased, Hilton turned to a group of friends from the saloon that they all hung out at, which is Teddy's, 2 blocks over from the Lafayette Theater. All of whom served in the Harlem Hellfighters during the war. They began organizing patrols to try and protect members of the community, alongside trying to find out who was responsible, after the 14th Precinct refused to take the matter seriously. Even after the mutilated bodies started appearing a couple years back, the police still refused to do anything, claiming gang violence and street robberies gone wrong as the cause, despite the pronouncements regarding an African death cult by some old crackpot with too much time on his hands.
Oh wait, who was a crackpot?
All of them.
That was so Rebecca Schosenberg kind of pipes up and says that was Captain Robson's description of Mordecai Lemming, the college professor who first came up with the cult angle.
Did we talk to him?
He
Is he
was
that-
the guy we spoke to about the bat
Right.
cults in Australia.
Mm.
No, was he?
Nope, different guy.
Different guy.
Was he the guy who lectured came down from Miskatonic?
That was the guy who had the bat information.
Oh.
Mordecai, you found out about Mordecai both from Lieutenant Poole and from Rebecca Schosenberg. Both of them, gave you pretty much the same information that he was a city university professor, and he's the one that that first said that there was some African death cults involved here.
But I don't think anybody's actually spoken to him. Bill, I think.
Right. We spoke to Professor Anthony Cowles. He was the guy that was the bat cults in
Ooh,
Polynesia, Australia.
make a
Yes.
note. I think Alistair, being the museum best possible person to reach out to him. What do you say?
So we haven't reached out to him yet. I'm
Yeah.
making a note that we need to reach out to him.
Amazingly, yeah, I actually wrote this down.
For some reason, I find it funny that that he told you about the bat cults, and his name is Cowl, wasn't it?
Professor Anthony Cowles. Yes.
Well played.
Oh my god,
Yes.
he is the Batman.
That's Harvey Dent. Now, most of the people in the Batman mythos should be alive at this time.
Oh yeah, totally. And Batman should have a gun at this time.
So Hilton and his friends focused on the death cult link and managed to turn up a reference in the New York Public Library about some long-dead cult from East Africa. Her husband, Millie says, my husband didn't tell me what it was called, and the police confiscated the journal that he kept all of his notes in about the case. Millie remembers that her husband used a strip of red cloth as a bookmark in the journal. And she suspects that it might have had some significance, but the police confiscated it also.
Did you guys tell her about my character's vision, like the one in Africa about the sign of the bloody tongue or some shit?
No.
We're trying to get people to keep trust us at first.
That makes perfect sense.
Then she says that the group's continued activities didn't go down well with the police, who warned Hilton about the dangers of stirring up trouble. Pressure was also applied to a couple of Hilton's friends by their employers, members of the conservative old guard who were concerned that the group's activities would only bring Harlem into disrepute, especially all that cult nonsense, which, as far as they were concerned, just played into white perceptions of black people as uneducated savages. This was further backed up by their respective church elders and in a series of pointed sermons. Despite her husband's reticence to include her in his inquiries, he did mention that he thought that there was a cult operating in Harlem and that they were probably paying the police to turn a blind eye to their activities, just like all the other criminal gangs do. One night, shortly before his arrest, Millie said she overheard her husband mention the name Juju House to his friend Needham Johnson, who works as a reporter at the New York Age. Her husband was arrested in September of 1924 after he was found standing over the body of a middle-aged white man in a dingy alley not far from the Harlem branch of the New York Public Library. The police, allegedly alerted by the dying man's screams, claimed to have seen Hilton throw away a bloody knife when confronted. The knife, Hilton's Army-issue bolo knife, was reportedly recovered from the scene and formed the crux of the prosecution's case against him, although Millie never remembers her husband taking the knife out with him when he went on patrol.
More arrows pointing to the Juju House.
She
Dig
says,
back over
"Oh,
back there again.
you know about the Juju House?"
Oh, we know about it.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
we do.
She says, well, I might actually be able to help you out a little bit there too. She says, I've started staking out the Juju house since my husband's arrest. She says, I've noticed that once a month, usually between 20 and 30 people file into the shop in the wee hours of the morning, sometime between midnight and 3 a.m. She says the timings coincide with when my husband and his friends used to go out on patrol. She says the attendees are a mixed bunch. She swears that some of them are tramps and lowlives, while others look like the sort of people that her husband worked with in construction, but she didn't personally recognize any of them.
Mixture, white, black.
Mix of both.
Okay.
She says,
People from my country.
I haven't necessarily seen anyone from your country. It's mostly black folk, but a few white faces in there as well.
Yeah.
She says once she saw crates going into Ransom Court on a night when there was a gathering about an hour or so before the guests arrived.
Do you know what could have been in that wood box crate?
She says I don't know. She says I suppose there could just be an exclusive speakeasy in the basement beneath the Juju house. I mean, there are a lot of similar establishments in basements all across the city, and that the crates could just have booze. But she says, I've got a horrible feeling, given that the disappearances also seem to tie to gathering nights, that there's a more sinister explanation to the crate's contents.
I am going to say Juju House is probably not the best thing to what you call have a what speakeasy. Yeah, because that just looks ominous and suspicious, as my wife tells.
She says she's also seen police detectives going into Ransom Court during the daylight hours. Not necessarily unusual in itself, but she suspects that that the 14th precinct is corrupt, and that they might be going in for payoffs.
Or
That would
worse.
explain the coincidental, the large amount of police presence.
Although,
Not to mention what happened mysteriously to the people that we brought in alive.
So yeah, sidebar to my fellow investigators. Maybe we drop Robson's name in there and see how the Juju guy reacts, and if he's paying off Robson. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
and if he tries to run away, maybe I'll try to intimidate him to stay this time instead of him having to do the fucking old man, oh God, help me, they're breaking my knees act.
I think we really need to plan out any future encounter.
She does tell you that if you were looking to try to get in unnoticed, she says that Silas keeps a very regimented schedule. She says he always takes lunch every day from 12 to 1, and he's always gone for about 2 hours after as soon as he locks the shop up. She assumes that he's going to get dinner. Then he comes back, and she doesn't see him go out again after that.
Well, I saw his back room. He lives there, I think.
We'll have to keep notes of the lunchtime if we need to go bust in and check the place out.
I'm always very good at busting in.
Very interesting.
So the Juju House is probably the center of cult activity, right? Like, 'cause it's got all those people going in and out on the day. People.
She
been dying.
assumes that's what it is.
Since you detected a pattern, correct, of the dates that these gatherings take place.
She says, yes. Yeah, I
So
did.
when's the next one?
Well, if it follows the same, it'll probably be this weekend.
How many days till the weekend?
Well, it's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday, so yeah, we got some time.
Got some time.
She says it will probably be Saturday night into Sunday. It usually corresponds to the new moon.
The book? Twilight New Moon.
Wasn't a great love story.
Edward, you're a vampire. Okay, Christ.
I don't know. I just was listening to a podcast and had one of the actresses that had a bit part in there, and she goes, "I don't know what the hell I was doing in that movie."
What are we talking?
Oh, fucking Twilight. You don't know that book series?
Twilight? I don't know anything about Twilight.
You're better
Yeah.
off.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Like,
a good
All
idea.
you need to know is right now this game has a better love story than Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah,
Vampires do not sparkle.
yeah. Vampires in this one are Spanish, and they're
They
like
suck
oh.
fat.
suck fat dick. Oh,
Oh, you went there.
yeah, I did go there. I'm
48
immature as
minutes
fuck.
Game. Here we are.
Sorry. Anyways, continue.
Fuzzy, thank you so much for the 500 bits. The charity folk
Damn.
will
Okay.
be very, very happy.
Careful,
Okay.
Fuzzy.
Where to? So okay.
Anything else? It would have been nice if we talked to her before, but you know. Yeah. Red Cloth Journal.
Yeah, but that Juju house was just so enticing.
So you know,
Let's just stormtrooper this thing.
I'm just gonna ask. I don't usually prod, but do any of you want to make any skill checks?
No, I
Checks
got no skills.
For what? Like social skill checks? I don't want to intimidate her.
Can we
But
use
hey.
a psychology roll to see if she's hiding anything?
You
has
can.
told us?
All right.
Why would she be hiding anything? That's insane.
Yeah. Why would anyone be
We're
hiding?
trying to help
anything?
her.
That's stupid.
This is Call of Cthulhu.
Okay, I failed.
Cultist or something.
She's a cultist?
Maybe
Everybody's a cultist.
Maybe it's a trap.
everyone is
it's
cultist.
a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Wait, what are we
Ooh,
rolling?
nice.
Okay.
Psychology.
Yeah. So Martin is absolutely convinced that that she's telling the truth, but he does think that she might be holding a little something back.
I, however, am convinced that she's not holding anything back.
Yeah, you want me to make a credit rating like last time? That was the only fucking one that actually succeeded.
You can impress her with the size of your wallet.
Yeah, impress her with my suit, apparently.
Oh, does our credit rating go up because we got all that money now?
It will only go up if you spend the money on something for your appearance, and being that's the same day that you got the money, I don't think you've had time to do that. You
We
know.
should stop by like Fifth Avenue and I'll get like top hat and stuff.
Yeah. Just
And
a big
monocle.
Well, wait. This is a good question.
I do carry a cane sword, so I'm pretty dapper.
Gonna fit right in with the other low life looking construction workers going in to the Juju house.
Yeah, I am a low-life construction worker, but he recognizes me.
Good point.
All right. Probably gonna fail, but I'll try my best here.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Where were you? I'm gonna.
You're like doing skill checks on Millie to see like if she's.
Everybody failed, so it's
Oh,
up to
that's
you.
something out.
Hang on, someone's calling me. I just gotta take.
I did an epic fail. Like just an enormous amount of fail.
So, Martin gonna pipe up? Say anything?
It could be a trap. I don't know. I think we should buy a Maxim gun.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Call of Cthulhu.
Well, this is Pulp Cthulhu, so.
It's true. It's true.
Or we
Alright.
should buy some magic mushrooms and put it in the Juju House owner's food, and so while he's tripping, we can, go in and take a look. We should also buy some thieves' tools because that was a huge problem last time we tried to break in.
It wasn't you. One of you
No.
has the tools. The problem was before he got to use them, you completely failed your luck roll when the cops rolled up.
Yeah.
Which isn't going to be a problem with the Maxim gun this time.
Oh my god.
So,
God damn.
so is there anything else that, out of curiosity, might have been you think your husband encountered weird since him and his friends were patrolling? Is there any of them still around that you can talk to? Did they find anybody
She says,
else?
Yeah, she mutters something under her breath and says, "Oh yeah, they're still around. All those two-faced guys, supposedly with so much war on her, but they turned their back on my husband as soon as he got arrested. Yeah, if you want to talk to them, they're over at Teddy's, and you can meet them there. They're in most mornings and most evenings."
That's a lot of drinking.
Who can blame them? It is roaring 20s, I think. Yeah.
So they pretty much gave up once
Yep.
pretty quickly when they realized the fix was in.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular that was as focused, could have been his target like your husband?
She says, "No, my husband was the only one that got arrested. The rest of them just scattered as soon as it happened."
I guess it was the patsy.
Wait,
She
so
says, if you'd like, I can set things up that you can go and speak to my husband if you think that he might have a little bit more information about this cult. He never shared those details with me, but I could
Well,
get
possibly
you in to see him out at Sing Sing.
I'd be most grateful. I could say as a fellow veteran, we can definitely perhaps be able to talk to him and convince him of our sincerity. Because I mean, a travesty of injustice has happened here. Our friend has died clearly at the hands of this cult, and we've dealt with he actually and us years ago dealt with a deadly cult in point to the Alejandro native land, and we just can't let that stand.
Yeah. I also, if you guys do not mind, I saw something about the bloody tongue and something to do with the wind. I was like in Africa, and there were people worshiping the symbol. Something about the black wind coming and the sign of the bloody tongue.
I don't really know anything about that, but but my husband can probably. She says the next visiting day will be Thursday. If you wanted to get out there, I can make sure that you're on the list for Thursday morning.
Are we supposed to meet someone Thursday afternoon? Like in Westchester?
Conveniently,
going to
that's where
Carlisle
Sing
Place.
Sing is.
Kill two birds with one stone. Oh wait, not supposed to say that anymore.
Yeah.
So will our credit rating go up if we buy an awesome car? We got all this money, right?
Yes, an Italian sports car.
Somehow I don't think
running board.
that Carlton Ramsey is going to let you expense a Packard.
It's clearly we got to impress Erica Carlisle, right? Super rich.
Well, we could rent a limo though, if we really wanted to, couldn't we?
You
It
could
has
you
to
could
be-
you could hire a nice
built-
car to drive you out there. Yes, you could do that, and Ramsey would probably sign off on that expense.
Traveling expenses. That makes perfect
Jeff
sense.
Rolls.
Yeah, you're traveling in a limo.
Can we get one with like a DVD player and stripper?
I want a DVD player and Bluetooth.
and spinners on the
The
wheels
latest
because all those things
automatic
happened in
gramophone.
24.
Gramophones.
There's no mechanical reason why a car couldn't have spinners in 1924.
It just wasn't in the fashion, and yeah,
I think they had rims.
they did have rims, but they didn't have spinning rims. They just had Rolls Royces.
What year is
Yeah,
this?
if you want a 1924,
By the way, Rolls, great ride.
expensive as fuck though. I hear they only make like a couple a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have these like wagon wheels kind of thing. I don't know how to
Probably have like a
bicycles wire thing.
Right, you're hitting about Model T era.
True story. My grandfather burnt down his grandfather's Rolls Royce.
What?
what?
It had one of those early like cigarette lighter type of deals into it.
Oh.
And kid playing around. One thing leads to another.
Smoking Newports as you do.
Yes.
All wooden dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
Winston
Giant
tastes good like a
red
cigarette
car.
should.
Okay. Good to know.
I think that information is going to come in handy.
Yeah, I was going to
Oh,
say. This might
Yeah,
actually
just have a cigarette in the Rolls Royce, just have a cigarette in the Rolls Royce. That'll show them.
We have player knowledge that this can actually be done.
And now I have GM knowledge and absolutely won't use that against you.
Yeah, totally. We'll see what
Oh,
happens.
I'm for explosions. This is pulp.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently plans are also part of pulp.
Plans?
Yeah,
Nah.
plans. Planning shit.
I'm surprised that
well, no, it's a classic part, but then it goes completely out the window.
Oh yeah, that's why you don't bother planning anything.
I'm surprised none of us have even gotten close to becoming totally insane.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
I already have my backup character thought up.
I actually have several backup characters.
Yeah, I don't have a backup character thought up because my guy is a tough son of a gun.
Oh, you're doomed now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Going down.
Yeah, I am.
Hubris.
Yeah.
Okay,
but-
wait. Was that all we got out of the roll?
So the only roll that I saw was that you guys passed was the one psychology roll, and I told Martin that he thinks that she's holding something back. You believe she's being 100% truthful. There, you don't sense any deception, but you think that there's something that she's not telling you.
Well, we'll probably find out sooner or later. I don't think she's giving off villain vibes. So
I'm gonna say, is it anything really weird that you can tell us about that is just completely out of the ordinary that you could say has been going on? And I'll
oh yeah, like
try to hook it to the occult.
Has there been any people who like have been like missing all their fat as if someone sucked it all out? Do we have to deal with more vampires? Probably.
Yeah. Gives a new
So-
definition to give and the suck.
She
Well,
says, no, I haven't heard any stories like that. She says my husband kept most of the cult information to himself because he knows that I'm religious, and he thought that it would upset me.
Well, even if there's something that you think is just weird or out there that might clash with your own beliefs, trust me, we've seen odd things and do not think down upon people that might call something insane. We experienced, as I said, several years back, we had an incident with our friend in Peru, things that he wrote about that, he did not tell the full story, just because even if we relayed it to you today, you wouldn't believe it, but it's 100% factual. And
She says, I wish that I could help you, but I don't have any of that information.
Yeah, probably when we speak to her husband, he'll have that kind of information.
Mhm.
So I wasted my hard occult roll right there.
Yeah.
That's my one success for this session.
All right.
Hmm.
What time of day is it now?
It's probably about 5 o'clock in the evening at this point.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I could probably use a drink, say at Teddy's Saloon.
Yeah.
Let's go talk to his friends.
That would be very good idea. Actually, you know what? Just in case things get ugly, I might need to get the. Sorry, I'm sounding more French. Jesus Christ. Hello, I am from Peru.
So
Let's go to the salon.
so she
Let's go to the salon.
tells you that just so that you guys know, Teddy is up and up on the top floor. She says there is an after hours speakeasy that'll be opening up in about 2 hours in the basement. She says, but looking at you guys, that probably, I'm not sure that they'd you might not fit in with the normal clientele, so just be prepared that you might need to do some fast talking if you try to get into the basement. But if you just ask for Hilton's friends, they're usually up in the top anyway.
Let's play it by ear. Let's talk to them. We probably get along. These guys are veterans, like him,
Yes.
Right. So as I'm a veteran. Let's talk. Let's see if we can smooth and maybe I can get invited for a drink later. Let's go talk.
Well, Senor, I do think in case it does get ugly, I need to get a weapon of some kind. Not a shotgun. I don't want it to go that far.
You have
but,
your fists.
I do have my fist, but it's not as good as a bat or what they call a blackjack. Why do they call it that? That's a card game.
can just like rip a table leg off of a table.
Oh yeah, just throw a table at him.
It's pulp.
You got 90 strength.
It's pulp. You can do it.
Sure. Fuck it.
Well, all right. If there's not much else,
Yeah, I think Teddy's it is.
It's
You know what I'm going to do? Since I've used my inventor skills for you, is I'm going to make you some slap gloves at some point.
Slap gloves. What,
Combat
just-
gloves. If you
Oh,
know,
I'm sorry.
yeah, I know. They're just padded a little bit, so they're like built-in brass knuckles into gloves.
Yeah, who needs brass knuckles when I just... Yeah, he's too tough to feel pain at this point. Besides, you could just get regular brass knuckles at really cheap cost. And a club. But you know what? The slap gloves would be really good. Just emphasize the slap.
I challenge you to a duel.
Keep in mind ambiguous illegalities in certain regions. But gloves can usually go undetected.
Of course. Yeah, just fucking... Oh, sir, I challenge you to a duel. He slaps me with his glove and I just backhand the guy.
A roll of nickels in each finger.
Duel. Been a good duel in many games.
Just put a bar of soap in just put a cue ball on a sock and then just...
All right, wait, are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Off to Teddy's.
So we thank Millie for being frank with us, and we assure that we'll do the best we can to
Anybody want to give the
justice
contact
for
information?
everybody involved in this tale.
How about Alistair's got a respectable permanent office in the city?
Alejandro would, but he doesn't want any random women calling the house.
So Alistair it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I can get any messages at the museum.
Okay. Great. Anything else you guys want to do as you're leaving?
Oh, wait a minute. Like in my backstory, like I was staying with an African American friend in Harlem. Perchance would this be one of these people who's a vigilante?
I'm gonna say your friend is not the one of the vigilantes, but he probably knows them.
Can he like give us a good word to like get into the speakeasy?
If you want to give your friend a ring before you head over, then yeah, he can put in a word for you.
Okay, I want to do that.
Okay. He tells you that he'll be sure to talk to the owner and make sure that he says, now don't start trouble or anything, but they'll let you in and they'll point out Needham, Douglas, Art, and Jackie to you.
Oh, we don't want to cause any trouble. We just want to get some booze. So, thank you.
Okay, so you are gonna head over there shortly. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
All right. I'm just gonna pull some. All right, Jackie Wallace, Edom Johnson. Douglas Fells. And Art Mills. Where did my art? There's Art. Okay. So, these are the friends of Hilton Adams. Let's drop these So, see your characters. Okay. So, you head on over to Teddy's. So Teddy's is a well-attended working man's club, not far from the Lafayette Theater. The as I said, the top floor is set up as a kind of a normal restaurant. There is a speakeasy that opens up around between 7 and 8 most nights. The interior is plainly, though comfortably furnished, with tables and booths around the wall. The central tables can be removed for parties and dances, and there's a small stage at the far end of the single room. A bar lines one wall, serving sodas and hot drinks, as well as a limited food menu. The lighting is adequate, although the thick pall of cigarette and cigar smoke clouds the atmosphere, aided and abetted by a grubby front window. So when you go in, I'm assuming you asked for these guys.
Yes.
So the bartender kind of nods you over in the direction of a booth over from the bar.
Can we, get a bottle of really nice liquor from the bartender and bring it over to the booth?
He says,
All right.
he says, it's a little too early for that, my friends, and we only do that in the basements.
Plus,
Alright.
there isn't. You can't get really good booze at this time.
Yeah. So this is just interrupting you, but I'm sorry about that. I'm guessing this place is just like sort of upscale, fancy place. There's no pool tables or anything.
No.
Okay, just checking. I was gonna basically ask for a bar napkin and just be prepared to go Steven Seagal on their asses. Just wrap a pool ball up in a towel and just.
This is a fancy eating establishment, boys.
Are we talking to the fellow vigilantes of the guy on death row?
Yes.
Like, aren't these guys supposed to be good guys?
Yeah.
But they're not
Alejandro just
judges.
apparently always wants to pick a fight in every episode. That's
Yeah.
Not always. I'm just prepared.
On to their own head.
So there's 4 guys huddled in a booth drinking coffee.
Is it Irish coffee?
Wait, now might be a good chance to figure out what we're trying to do here.
I think there's 2 things that we should do. One, we want to see if they know anything more than the wife knows. 2, if they would like to help us, help their buddy.
We should present ourselves as working on behalf of Millie, the wife, to try to help out their buddy. That would probably start it off on the right foot.
We have common self-interests.
Right, we think they got the wrong man, and we don't want to see an innocent man fry.
So who's got like good charm or whatever? Persuade.
Not me.
I only got 22. I've gotten real lucky sometimes, but I'm very. We're going to do a credit roll at some point just to see who buys drinks.
Well, apparently it's not drinking time.
But you know what I mean.
All right. Who's got intimidation? Just kidding.
Damn it.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
everybody, can we just walk up? Go. Gentlemen,
Can we help you?
I believe you can.
That-
We just came from speaking with the wife of an acquaintance of yours. She directed us this way.
So make a psychology roll.
No.
All of us.
Sure, anyone who can.
Alright, I'm looking at him too. Fuck it. Let's see.
I was gonna.
Of course, I
that
fail.
was good. We're gonna do the charm thing.
Yeah.
Not just yet.
We gotta speak a little and then charm.
It's all bad.
So-
All right.
All right.
You are just rocking it tonight.
Yeah.
So the rest of you just notice that you're kind of getting chilly stares from these guys. Martin thinks that these guys are feeling super guilty about having left Hilton in the wind,
Mhm.
and they're really uncomfortable talking about it, or you get the feeling this is not going to be a really comfortable conversation for anybody involved.
Well, let me try. First of all, gentlemen, basically, put it as bluntly as possible, we need pretty darn sure and know that your friend's innocent of the crime he's been convicted of. And we want to bring the real perpetrators to justice. Not just for him, but to avenge our friend who's recently killed. And we're hoping you might be able to assist us, maybe fill in some gaps in our knowledge. Or
Right.
any
Our friend was killed, and probably by the same people that set up your friend, and we want revenge. Bad.
Revenge.
Revenge.
Now we're into revenge. Jeez, no one tells me anything. I didn't sign up for no revenge.
Sure you did. That was the whole reading of the will.
Hey, the well. Let's get some fun.
Assuming Martin told us that they're feeling guilty.
Oh yeah. Also, Martin says that he also served during the Great War, though with the French.
I served with the Canadians and the British.
And he heard a lot of great things about the Hellfighters, and in particular that none of them were ever taken prisoner. So he knows the quality of these people, of people at the table, and that they surely must want justice for one of their own.
Okay, so they hear you. They kind of look at each other for a minute and they say, "All right, well, here's what little we can tell you." They say, after a while, we figured out that there was a pattern forming regarding the disappearances. And it was usually two people, every once in a while more, but usually two people, and always at the same time every month. It was always right before, right at the new moon. And they said once Hilton managed to stumble across someone being attacked when out on patrol, and he drove the attacker off. In the fight, he tore a strip of red cloth from some weird mask the attacker was wearing. And it wasn't long after that the police started making their threats. They say that there's no physical evidence besides that piece of cloth, and the police took that. Everything else was purely observation and conjecture, and was all recorded in Hilton's journal, which the police also took. And they said, they say pretty cynically, and probably neither one of those things exist anymore.
Well, shouldn't be a surprise we captured three people that are killing our friend in the same manner as these other killings took place, and lo and behold, they mysteriously sustained some accidents while in police custody.
Well, we actually don't know if they're dead.
Well,
They just said that they're dead.
yeah. But we've been informed. Whatever. That's we're going to go with.
They literally
And strangely enough, it happens to be when they were taken to the same precinct that was put in charge of investigating the earlier murders. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised either. Sounds like some heavy hitters moved to protect the killers at the same time as frame up your friend.
So wait, let me see if I get this right. The red cloth was ripped from an attacker.
Yes.
Okay.
The one other thing that they can tell you is that Hilton was convinced that he'd tracked down a new lead, something to do with the Juju house, but he got arrested before he could confirm his suspicions.
Any of you ever looked into it?
And they all kind of look at each other somewhat sheepishly and say no, we never found out what he was looking for.
You guys know anything about this Juju house?
Want to find out?
Well, as you well, they live in the area, so we've unfortunately may have burned some bridges there ourselves. Well, that name's come up before in our end as well.
They say the only information that they have is the usuals. They know that there's an occult shop by that name over off of Ransom Court, but they assume that Hilton probably found some connection to the owners there, but that was all that that's all guesswork on their part.
Do they know if Hilton kept a backup copy of his journal, the one that was taken by the police?
Not that they're aware of. They only ever saw him with one.
Did Hilton ever share any of his theories with you guys? You guys were all war buddies, right?
He shared a lot of things, but the only thing that he could tell us was that the night that he was arrested, he said that he thought he had a new lead about the Juju house and was going to check it out on patrol, and that's the night that he got arrested.
You guys patrolled without backup?
Yeah, we usually split up and did different parts of Harlem.
Any of you guys seen any of these attacks?
We've all frightened at least one attacker off.
Red.
So have the people who've been dying, are they only been from Harlem or all over?
Most of them have been, well, but they didn't necessarily live in Harlem, but most of the bodies were found in Harlem, or were there were a lot of residents, but there were also a lot of visitors.
And they all seem to have the same symbol carved in their forehead.
Yep.
Were the attackers all?
Have you seen that symbol anywhere else other than the victims?
Yeah, we found when we went to the library, we found some book that connected it to this cult from Africa. It was called the Bloody Tongue.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Alejandro's eyes just light up at that, like, bloody tongue.
Would that book, by any chance, be Africa's Dark Secrets?
No.
No. Been looking for that book.
No, never
Hil-
heard of that one.
Are Hilton's friends willing to help us out? Help us help him?
So they kind of mutter to themselves for a minute and then say, "There's really not a lot that we can do. We've been threatened by the police. We've been shut out from most of the investigation, and everyone around here thinks the case is closed.
But we all know that's
But
bullshit.
we're more than happy to help you in anything that that you end up doing. But we think that at this point we really need outsiders to be able to get anything happening."
Uh, Millie, the Hilton's wife, has kept the Juju house under surveillance. We could always use more eyes in that area, and also we know that there's police detectives that go in there. So if we could find out who those detectives are, and also clearly the captain of the precinct is corrupt. So maybe we could.
What else is new?
Yeah, but
Half
there's a
half
level
the
of
force
corruption.
is on the take.
Corrupt in a way that's connected to this cult. So
We've been
if
we've been
that's what
we've been
failing-
we've known that from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as we started investigating and got this found the cult connection, all of a sudden the police were up our asses.
Do you have any leads on members, or do you know any of the members of the cult?
No.
Um,
Any commonalities?
The commonalities, the couple of guys that we've managed to catch doing this have seemed to wear these weird masks with kind of a red piece of felt from it coming down from it. The description matches the headdresses that you saw on the guys that killed Jackson.
Can I use? I have like technical drawing skill. Can I like on a napkin sort of roughly sketch out and then what those masks that we saw and then show it to them? Can I attempt to try that?
Sure.
And I fail utterly.
So, I'll say that you
It's the napkin's not really good.
the
for
napkin's
drawing.
not so good. You don't really, you can't really seem to convey it in on paper, but you kind of get the point across that it
Yeah.
sounds like you're talking about guys in the same manner of dress.
Yeah. So we definitely have a point of commonality here. Shoot, I was so hoping we'll use another
Oh.
skill.
Yep. Everybody's after us. It's all bad.
So at some point, we're gonna end up doing a raid on the Juju house, aren't we? This weekend.
since these guys are ex-military, do they know where we could find a Maxim gun?
This
What?
is the part where we like build a strike team.
Or some Browning automatic rifles? Those were invented in 1918.
Yep, Thompson's.
Well, it's going to be kind of useless if you don't have the machine gun skill.
Just like point the gun and make sure that nobody friendly is downrange. It's a volume of fire weapon.
Fair enough, but
Yeah, finding those just generally on the street in New York isn't really a thing.
you can find a Tommy gun though. But
If you know where to ask.
yeah,
Well, where's the New York National Guard Armory for Harlem.
Why don't you ask your friend
fucking-
you're staying with? That would probably be better and less doing it in an open bar.
We're not gonna raid an armory. Come on.
We can buy enough, besides that, in close combat, we can already get enough handguns and things like that. It's easy enough. I mean, it is the States in 1920.
Yeah.
Fine.
And you got Alejandro. Oh,
Mustard gas and flamethrowers.
oh yeah.
So,
All right. Anything else?
now, just out of said, be frank with you, how we got onto this, I explained how we're good friends of Elias Jackson, and you might have heard of him. Write some books and things on that. Years ago, we all got involved in something down in Peru. He wrote about it in his book. Now, as I've been telling everybody, the fact is there was a lot of strange stuff that went down that he couldn't put in those books, that people wouldn't believe. Sort of the fantastical, the horrifying, the truly bizarre. Now, is there anything that you've encountered or your friend did that you can think of that would fit that definition?
No, I nothing. We never really understood what the cult wanted. We just knew that people from the neighborhood were disappearing.
Ever heard of the Carlisle expedition?
The what now?
Fair enough.
Bunch of people traipsing around Africa.
Yeah, got killed in a cultish manner, but some of them seem to be turning up alive.
A story for another time, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't really know what to tell you about that.
Fair enough. We're just finding a lot of weird connections as we go talk to different people.
Yeah, the only African connection we found was that one book in the library that had the picture of the symbol, but
And the Juju house.
but we don't. Well, yeah, but frankly, I don't even know what to make of the Juju house thing because Hilton got arrested before he could tell us.
Well, let's just say it's not the first time the Juju house has come up in our investigation from, completely different angles. We're not 100% sure ourselves, but
Thinking at least 3 times.
yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
Anything else for this encounter?
Well, has it gotten late enough to buy these gentlemen a drink?
Yeah, unless we want to hang around for the good stuff.
They say, well, we can stay for one, but most of one of the guys works the night shift, so he's
Fair.
going to stick with coffee. The others say we can stay for one, but we're due home for dinner soon. So
Well, okay. One drink? We toast, to missing comrades in arms.
there we go.
Yeah. Saúde.
All right, I think that's probably a good spot for us to take our 10-minute break.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Let's try to come back here at 9:45.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you all very much, those of you who have been very generous with donations during the first half. And stay tuned, and we will be back in 10 minutes.
All right.
Okay.